What's up, everyone? Welcome in to championship weekend of the Lowdown. Woo! Big games all around. Playoff spots still to be determined. I think if USC loses, they're out. Ohio State probably slides in. I think TCU is good if they lose because they have beaten Kansas State, and I don't think the committee is going to punish them for playing in a championship game. I didn't agree with Ohio State ranking at number 5. I thought Alabama should be at number 5. They lost 2 games by a combined 4 points, whereas Ohio State just got boat raced at home to Michigan. So, speaking of Michigan, they're playing the Big Ten championship game against Purdue this weekend. Just keep an eye on their offensive line. Their offensive line is why they're as good as they are. And I know Blake Corum is out. But I think they're going to have enough running backs to step up and fill in. Although he is a special player, I think if he wouldn't have gone down, he might have won the Heisman Trophy. And speaking of the Heisman Trophy, it's probably going to be won this weekend. You got Caleb Williams at USC, Max Duggan, TCU. I think those are probably your leaders. And if they have big games this weekend, I think they could easily win the Heisman Trophy. So, with that said, let's get into the games. Utah and USC Friday night game. USC lost by a point to Utah earlier in the year at Utah. I think USC gets some revenge here. They were up big in that game, and then Utah came back. But I like the way Caleb Williams is playing, and Jordan Addison. I think he's going to have a big game. And one thing people talk about USC's defense. They turn the ball over. They get turnovers, and you can give up yards and still be a pretty good defense if you create turnovers. And with their offense, the way it is, I just that's one thing people aren't talking about enough. But I really like the way Caleb Williams is playing. I think USC gets revenge here, and I think they cement themselves in the playoff, which I thought earlier in the season, actually before the season began, I thought they could make the playoffs just because Lincoln Riley's offensive acumen and the players they had. I mean, USC has talent, and we'll see what they do this weekend. If they blow it, though, they're out. So I'm going to go USC 35, Utah 27. Big one in the Big 12, 11 a.m. Saturday, Kansas State against TCU. Will Howard, I think, is probably going to be starting there at quarterback for Kansas State. Adrian Martinez is suffering with a leg injury. But Howard's really been playing good ball. So their offense has really kind of expanded with him playing quarterback. And look, Kansas State's a good ball team. They're a hard-nosed football team. It's been tough for me to pick them this year. On some games, I've picked them to win, and then they've lost. And when I've picked them to lose, they've won. So, but I think TCU's got something special here. I think Max Duggan, really intelligent player there at quarterback. Kendre Miller has rushed for 1,260 yards and 16 touchdowns. I think turnovers could be a big factor in this game. But I like TCU to finish undefeated. And I like I said, I think if they lose, I think they'll still be in the playoffs. So, and K-State over their last 5 games has been averaging about 40.2 points per game. So this could be a high-scoring, fun game to watch. But I'm going to say TCU. I'm going to say 33. Moving on. LSU against Georgia. Jane Daniels is a little banged up. I've been to SEC championship games when Georgia's been in the game, and it's definitely a home field advantage for them. I know they've been a little up and down on offense this season, but I expect them to come out and play well. I think if Georgia loses, they're still in the playoff, but I don't think it's a scenario where like it was last year where they could play Alabama again. So I think Georgia is going to give it their all in this game, and I like the way they're running the ball. LSU's been a tough LSU has not been that great stopping the run this season. But here's one thing LSU does have going for it. I think Harold Perkins and B.J. Ojulari, if those guys can hit Stetson Bennett and create some turnovers, I think they could hang around in the game. But, I mean, Georgia's offense, Kenny McIntosh running the ball, Brock Bowers, Darnell Washington. I mean, Stetson Bennett, they're at quarterback, and that home field advantage is just huge for them. So I'm going to say Georgia, and I think Georgia pretty big. I'm going to go 45-20. Fresno State at BCU. This is my upset of the week. I like Fresno State to beat the Broncos. I'm going to say 30-27. UCF at Tulane. AAC championship game. You see Tulane's favored here, and I don't know why. I mean, UCF kicked their ass a couple of weeks ago, so I like John Riz Plumlee there and the UCF offense to get it done. And I think they beat Tulane. I'm going to say this is going to be a high-scoring game too. I think 38-31. Moving on to Clemson, North Carolina. Look, Clemson's not the same team it was. And, I mean, that's what happens when you start losing your good coordinators and guys that can really call plays on offense and defense. North Carolina has really stumbled down the stretch. I think a lot of that's due to its inexperience. They were in the playoff race just a couple of weeks ago, but they've lost 2 straight games and to Georgia Tech and NC State, and are kind of stumbling into this game. I do like Drake May there at quarterback. He's a true freshman. He's thrown for 3,847 yards and 35 touchdowns. He's a really good player. Throws a really good ball. I think Clemson's going to win this game, but I think it's going to be tight. I'm going to go Clemson 34, North Carolina 31. And then the final game of the evening, Purdue at Michigan. It's like I said earlier about Michigan's offensive line. Those guys are just maulers up front, man. Their center and their guard. Zinter's their guard. I mean, he's just a great player. And I think Michigan smells blood here. I think they're the one team to me that could get Georgia. I think Georgia's the best team, and then just the way they play defense, I think they're the best team defensively in the country. But I mean, and the way Kirby Smart prepares for opponents, man, he's really good at putting in a good game plan and taking away at a team's strength and weaknesses. So I just don't think Purdue's going to be able to hang with Michigan here, and I like Michigan to roll here big. I say Michigan 42, Purdue 17. And look, just going to say this: if some chaos happens, and usually it does, it'll be interesting to see what this committee does, especially if USC loses. I don't think Ohio State's deserving to get in the playoff after just getting boat raced at home. I just don't, but that'll probably be the case if USC goes down. I do think TCU is in, though. But if both of those teams lose and TCU gets blown out, we're in for a wild scenario. But I appreciate you guys hanging with me this year, and I'm going to do a bowl game lowdown and do picks on all the bowl games. And you can get my thoughts, too, on lowdownsports.com on the Lane Kiffin hire there with that interview with Philip Jordan. And I'm doing basketball previews and recaps for Field Level Media. I'm doing a lot of stuff with them now and doing some Atlanta Falcons stuff. That's up every Monday on Field Level Media about 6 o'clock at night, covering the Arthur Smith press conference and kind of giving a preview of the Falcons' next game. They're playing the Steelers this weekend, and then they're off the following week. Also going to be doing some Memphis Grizzlies basketball stuff, too, for Field Level Media. Field Level Media, they provide content with a number of big websites throughout the country, most namely CBS Sports and Yahoo Sports. So if you go to NCAA basketball up there and go to Auburn, you'll see my previews up there, and I also do the recaps too as well. So check them out, fieldlevelmedia.com, and good luck to your teams this weekend, and I'll talk to you guys soon about the bowl picks. See ya.